Louise, tell us a little bit about yourself and the work that you do.
So I was just waiting for the subtitles to come up, but they haven't come up.
So Louise, tell them about you and what you do. Tell us about you.
So I'm a deaf awareness advocate and really passionate about raising awareness to try and make the world a more deaf aware place. I've been through lots of struggles throughout my life, and I was diagnosed when I was 7 with mild to moderate hearing loss, and now at 25, almost 26, my birthday's on the 14th. I'm severe to profound, so it's deteriorated a lot.
Okay, thank you for letting us and take you through that part of your journey. You're an advocate and you write blogs. What do you write your blogs about?
Lots of different things. I went to university when I left school and studied for childhood studies and had a lot of problems there. I think that was the first time in my life where I had support. I attended mainstream school and had no support, but luckily managed to pass everything. So I write about my university experiences. Sometimes I might write about things I do, like days out. I write about deaf awareness tips, mental health, which is really important. I do a lot about mental health and try and raise awareness of that. I don't think people really understand how deaf people are mentally affected with their diagnosis. So lots of different things.
The blog sounds incredible and obviously vital for so many people to learn and respectively be able to learn and understand themselves who are not have hearing impairment. Lesley, you're joining us now as Louise's interpreter. Thank you so much. You have an incredible job. What do you do?
Well, I have an incredible job working with deaf people like Louise. So I'm a qualified lip speaker and a qualified interpreter. And Louise uses a bit of a combination of both lip reading and signs to support the meaning. And I also work mainly in a hospital. I'm a qualified midwife. So I support deaf women through their pre-pregnancy, birthing and postnatal experiences, particularly with deaf mums who struggle with communication support at that precious time.
Are we right in thinking you're the only UK British Sign Language interpreter that is also a midwife? Is that right?
You are absolutely right in thinking that. Yes, I believe there are others catching up who also are learning sign language and or learning to be a midwife. But as we stand, I believe I'm the only one that's qualified to do both.
That's incredible and obviously much needed. I think we've got some photos as well. Let's pop those up. This is you in hospital.
That's working as an interpreter in a hospital with the parents' permission to show on air. I was interpreting their birth of their third child, and I'd been involved with the second child as well. So a real great experience for everybody, particularly me. Quite an honour.
That's incredible, and I think we've got a photo of the baby as well.
Oh. Yes, that's the baby girl, Freya, that was born. So we get the best of both jobs, working in the hospital as an interpreter and then getting to hold the baby after.
So labour is an interesting experience and can be a challenging experience for many women. What's it like dealing with and supporting deaf women in labour before you learned British Sign Language?
Well, there was no communication. For me, it was a question of creating some agreed signs like tap to push or squeeze to stop pushing, because I didn't understand sign language. So it was an awful experience for the deaf woman and for me as the midwife, because we want to be involved and connected with each woman. So it was very, very difficult.
Thank you, Lesley. This year's been really very, very difficult for many people, and to be able to communicate has been vital. So, Louise, trying to speak to people wearing a mask must have been almost, obviously impossible if you're lip speaking. What's it been like?
It's really isolating. I think just looking around now and just seeing a whole sea full of masks. But I think at first I was a little bit anxious, but I thought, no, I'll be all right. So when I go to the shops, I come across people and they start talking, and I'm like, whoa, 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 and stop them and say, oh, I'm a deaf lip reader. And then I don't really ask them to lower their masks, because most of the time they lower them before I ask, and are really nice about it. I did have one bad experience though. I approached this member of staff who had a mask on and explained I was a deaf lip reader and was asking her to help me find something. And then she continued speaking with her mask on. So I was like, I thought I've never been in this situation before, so I didn't know what to say. So I kind of just said, I stepped back and then said, oh, please could you lower your mask so I could lip read you? And then she carried on speaking. And I thought, oh my God, what am I going to do? And it was just really awkward and a little bit embarrassing. So I kind of just walked off. So I was like,
That.
difficult.
Yeah, very, very difficult to understand that and the challenges for that person that actually could have, as you've stepped back, potentially put down their mask. So absolutely, you would have been able to speak, read through their lips. We've got some photos as well, which is some face masks. Just pop those up. Oh. How have these been able to help?
How do those masks help?
They help massively. I know that one common problem with the mask is that they can steam up quite quickly. So I've always recommended to people to go on Amazon and purchase this anti-fog spray, and you spray it on. It lasts about a week before you have to reapply it. But it's really, really good. I can, lip read people a lot easier. We don't have to go through the whole trouble of having to ask them to lower their mask. And I have seen several people wearing the transparent face shields, but I think they're amazing. But I think the common problem people worry about is they don't fully protect you. But these masks do fully protect you. And yeah, they help a lot, really a lot.
Lesley, you're also involved with Clear PPE. Can you take us through that?
Yes, well, for obvious reasons, working in the hospital, we need to make sure that the deaf person can see facial expression, lip pattern, because it's not just about the hands, it's about all of this. So I purchased some clear masks from China through America back to the UK and distributed them for colleagues and people working with deaf people. And the clear mask meant it was easier for deaf people to see through without me having to take the mask down. And they've been very popular and sold out very quickly.
They look very different to the masks that Louise just showed. How we deal with PPE as part of stay at home and training that we have here at Chaos. How does it work? So where does the air go?
I think it kind of goes out the side. They've got like a sponge at the bottom and a bit at the top, and you use a drawstring to tighten them up behind the head. So the air just goes out the side, and they are single-use masks. You take the film off the front, and they don't fog at all. They just work brilliantly.
Wow. Thank you for that, and thank you for sharing that image and those two different masks that help to communicate, because the communication at this time, whilst we're going through COVID, has been so important. Louise, what was it like for you growing up with hearing loss, and is there enough support?
I think support in terms of education really bad. I attended two mainstream schools. It was my primary school and my high school, and the support was just non-existent. I think it's really bad, and it's one of the reasons why I became a deaf awareness advocate. I just wanted to raise more awareness, I think, in schools, and I think, yeah, there needs to be a lot more deaf awareness, which is why I deliver talks to lots of different organisations, and it opens people's eyes up. I think that would help a lot, but support-wise, there's not really enough support. But I think now I rely on Lip Speaker UK, and obviously lip speakers like Lesley, who's amazing, and help me help to bridge that gap, that communication gap. Yeah, if I'd known about Lip Speaker UK before, I probably would have used it in terms, in education. But yeah.
No, thank you for that. And we'll keeping with communication. This year has been the rise of this type of communication, where it's online via Teams, via Zoom, via Facebook, or via Skype, via Google versions, whatever they are. Conversations on Zoom must have been, if you were having them, ridiculously difficult, because there is no interpretation there.
With my work, obviously we're based at home now. We have a lot of communication on Microsoft Teams, and luckily there are subtitles, and most of my colleagues speak quite clearly, so they come up sort of fairly, almost accurate. But I again really rely on Lip Speaker UK to help me, and I think if I didn't have a lip speaker on my online meetings, I would have been absolutely lost. But when I use like Zoom doesn't really have subtitles, and I've used Zoom in the past and stayed in touch with friends over the first lockdown, and I was just lost and didn't have a clue what everyone was talking about. So it's really hard, especially when I rely on lip reading and you're trying to lip read someone online. The internet can kind of break up sometimes, and then it freezes. Sometimes the audio is not in sync with the visual, so it gets a bit confusing.
Just one of the things, but lots of different things that people take for granted when using communications ways of being able to talk again through Zoom. What other normal daily life areas does kind of gets prevented through your hearing loss?
Do you have problems with other areas of life because of... So, Louise, do you get any problems with other areas of everyday life because of your hearing loss?
Yeah, definitely. I think probably all areas of my life. As soon as I leave the house, it's just, madness. Obviously, my house is like my safety zone. And as soon as I leave, it's just, it affects everything from driving. I mean, I can drive. There's a common misconception that deaf people can't drive. But driving, like if there's something wrong with my car, I won't be able to get from one place to another, going out to shops and trying to hear shop assistants. And I sometimes have people approach me and I don't realise from behind, because I can't hear from behind. My microphone's at the front of my hearing aid. Sometimes you get shop assistants come up to you, say, "Can I help you with anything?" And I'm just looking around and turn around and someone looking at me, I'm like, what are they looking at me for? And didn't realise they just asked me a question. Just communicating in general with anyone is quite difficult.
Have you found I suppose that the COVID updates from the Prime Minister and news channels appropriate for you? TV, what's it been like being able to access media separate to the communication with Zoom and such?
The briefing, the daily briefings is really completely inaccessible for deaf people. Well, I've seen briefings in other countries such as New Zealand and Scotland. There's always an interpreter present, usually behind the Prime Minister. But unfortunately, our Prime Minister not really considered that and come back with excuses saying there's not enough room for an interpreter. And yeah, it's really bad. We've had interpreters provided by, I think, BBC on the BBC News channels. So you have to switch over, but that's not really great because as it should be mainstream on the mainstream channel. There's I'm not sure if you're aware, there's a campaign at the moment, Where's the Interpreter? And it's won by Lynn Stewart Taylor.
Yeah.
And she campaigned a lot because of the inaccessible briefings to make them more accessible for deaf people.
Absolutely. So today is also International Day of Persons with Disabilities. That's the IDPD. Do you consider hearing loss a disability?
I personally, but lots of people have different opinions. Some people are quite strongly opinionated, but I think I'm quite laid back about things like terminology and things like that. But I do, consider it a disability because I can't hear.
I have some friends who are very passionate about the way they use terminology. And when we talk about the International Day of Persons with Disabilities, quite a mouthful. And actually, I have friends that use wheelchairs, and they're actually just happy to say, I'm disabled. Just call me disabled, not person with disability or the disability of persons or person of disability. What's the terminology? And it's very personal. What's the terminology that you prefer?
I'm really laid back about terminology. I use deaf, sometimes hard of hearing. It depends, because I think when you say to someone, I'm deaf, people immediately assume that you can't hear anything. So I've had responses in the past where people have like shouted at me, over exaggerated their wording, and I just look at them like, you look really stupid right now. So I sort of sometimes use hard of hearing, but mainly deaf. And I just mentioned I had hearing aids. One terminology that a lot of deaf people do not like is hearing impaired. I've used that terminology in the past. I don't use it so much now, but a lot of people consider that really offensive.
Thank you for letting us know. That's actually really good to know for everyone here and our watchers. And what about sports clubs? Do you sports clubs, parties, pubs? Do you enjoy these situations? Obviously, outside of a COVID world.
I'm a very sociable person, and that's what I find really difficult. Is that I love socialising with people. I love going to parties and going to the pub. I used to love clubbing. Now I'm older, I don't go so much now, but I find all of them situations really difficult. I can't hear, and usually get my friends to type things down on their phone. It's really difficult. I find it quite depressing sometimes when I'm in them situations. I feel really excited, but I can't communicate with people. It's quite difficult. So, again, that's hard.
Very much a person of my own heart. When you say clubbing, are you meaning going to a dance club and going for a dance as well?
the clubbing when you go dancing, and I used to do that a lot when I was younger, and I just found it impossible talking to people, and I ended up just drinking, and I thought, no, I'm not going to talk to anyone, I'm just going to dance. And usually me and my friends will probably just make up signs like toilet that way, then we'll just go to the toilet or drink, and then we don't really talk so much when we're clubbing. It's just, but it's so loud, it's just impossible to hear anyone. I had a lot of people try to talk to me, and I'll say, oh, I'm deaf, and then they come close to me and shout in my ear, and I'm like, I still can't hear you, mate. This is a nightmare.
No, for myself as well, if I was to go clubbing, it would just be clubbing and dancing. I don't do much of the talking. It's much better just to dance and enjoy it in that way. If you had the chance to speak to Boris Johnson about hearing loss and inclusivity, what would you tell him?
I would ask him, where is the interpreter? It's a popular hashtag trending on Twitter in the deaf community. I'd just say to him, what about deaf people? What about us? You have to think about us as well. How are we supposed to access this information? And the guidelines, how are we supposed to know what we're doing? It's a lot of deaf people can't access his live briefings because English and British Sign Language structure is completely different, and the message can be misinterpreted really easy.
Oh, wow. So where is the interpreter? Is that a hashtag, and is that across all social media?
Interpreter.
Just to make sure.
Across all social media. So Louise, with the hashtag, where is the interpreter? Is that across all social media?
In the deaf community, a lot of people tweet, usually after the live briefings, saying, there's no interpreter again, where's the interpreter? I have a lot of responses from people saying, oh, just switch over to the BBC News channel, but no, that's not the point. That's BBC who are providing that interpreter, not Boris. So it's not great.
Understood. And Boris, if you're watching, where's the interpreter? Lesley, where would you like the BSL on the school curriculum?
Oh, a question for me about British Sign Language. I would love to see British Sign Language part of the school curriculum, including exams. And I understand that happens now in Scotland, but I'm not sure it's happening in the UK for exams, for example, the GCSEs. But of course, there are deaf schools throughout the UK that teach beautiful sign language as a first language for deaf students. But I'm not sure if there's actually a GCSE type exam or A-level exam. I know you can go through different providers for accrediting sign language, such as IBSL and Signature, but I'm not sure if there's a school exam to do. I don't know, I'd have to research, but I'm sure it's happening now in Scotland.
That's fantastic. We've had Tigger on a couple of times, who has shown us recently Makaton. Makaton's different to British Sign Language. And actually, I'm really excited. It is Christmas. Would you help myself and our viewers learn some British Sign Language BSL for some Christmas words?
Yeah, we're
ready.
Fantastic.
We'd both be very happy to.
Okay, so let's have a go at cracker. Christmas cracker.
Cracker. Is that right, Lesley?
Yeah, it looks great to me. Cracker.
Cracker. Fab. Okay. How about a turkey?
Turkey.
I like that. That's fantastic. Turkey. Okay. So we've got cracker, we've got turkey. Perrin's favourite, pigs in blankets.
Lesley knows this one.
It's a bit of an English concept, so I would probably sign the pig as in the sausage, wrapped in the blanket of bacon. So sausage wrapped in bacon called pigs in blanket.
Well, let's do that one again, Lesley. So let's pop those together. So the sausage.
So sausage.
Yeah.
Sausage.
Yeah.
And then the blanket.
Yeah.
Sort of sign putting a blanket round, and then bacon. It's like that sort of bacon.
Okay, so sausage.
Wrapped in
bacon, and then the pigs.
You could start by saying it's a pig, so that deaf people have got the idea we're talking about. Yeah, pigs. Okay. Pigs in blankets. You could just sign pigs in blankets, but a deaf person would think, what does that mean, without the context of Christmas food or something. So.
Oh, Lesley, what was the Christmas food?
Oh, that's the sign for Christmas.
Christmas.
So it's like Christmas.
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 Well, that's cute.
And then
that's lovely.
Food.
So Christmas is almost you're stroking your hand. So it's like this Christmas. Christmas. And then food.
Food.
And we're still on food. Nut roast. Sorry.
Why was nut?
Nut.
Roast.
Roast. Oh, that's easy. Yeah, nut roast. You like that?
Nut.
Roast.
Roast. Nut roast.
Nut.
And this is one for Louise and myself when we go clubbing. I'm too drunk.
Drunk. So your middle finger.
Yeah.
On the palm of your hand, and you wobble it around. Drunk. It's all about the facial expressions as well. Drunk.
Okay. Okay, we got that, and then we'll leave. But one of my favourite drinks, and Babs's favourite drinks as well. Prosecco, please.
Prosecco. Lesley loves Prosecco.
Love the
Thank you, Louise.
The sparkles.
It's like you're popping the cork out the top and saying like Prosecco or champagne.
Or
it's
wine.
The same sign. Or wine. Yeah, like sparkling wine. Yeah. Prosecco, wine.
Prosecco, wine.
Yeah.
Wine. Okay. And stockings. Loving this. This is fantastic.
Stocking. Well, I signed stockings differently like that, but I think they're stockings that you actually wear. That's the stockings.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that right, Lesley?
Lesley and Louise. I've only just recently found out how small stockings are. So as Louise is putting your hands together, stockings.
Small. Yeah, you could use Christmas first, so Christmas stockings. So might be easier for people to understand, especially if you weren't a deaf person. Yeah, like Louise is showing.
Okay. And we've had him on a couple of times. So Santa Claus.
So what's your sign for Father Christmas or Santa Claus?
I think obviously it's important with the lip pattern, you have to mouth what you're saying. I go Santa. Some people sign it differently all over the UK, so.
And just one very, very simple one, and one last one. Merry Christmas.
So I would go Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. So Merry Christmas.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Thank you, Louise, and thank you, Lesley. How do we keep in contact with everything that you're doing on your blog and the British Sign Language and BSL?
I'm on Twitter. My at name is Louise Deaf Aware. If you type in Louise Deaf Awareness, it'll be on Twitter, and I'm on Facebook and Instagram as well. So on my blog, I have a website, www.louisedeafawareness.com, and you can check out all the things that I do.
And for Lesley, how do we get in contact and keep in contact with Lip Speakers UK and the British Sign Language Foundation?
You can contact me online on www.lipspeaker.co.uk, and you'll find us on Twitter, and the same as what Louise was saying, but we are Lip Speaker UK. It's the only lip speaking focused company in the UK, so it should be easy to find us. Also, there's a register of all qualified British Sign Language interpreters on the register, which is called NRCPD, the National Registers, Communication Professionals working with deaf and deafblind people. And there's a list of all of the qualified interpreters in the UK on there.
Thank you so much. Very, very quick question. Have you got any quick tips on how the public can interact with people with lip speaking, or a lip speaker, sorry?
So you can find lip speakers on the same register, the NRCPD register, or of course you can contact me. I'm the director of Lip Speaker UK, and we have all of the UK lip speakers on our database. We can find you someone local. And if you want to watch a video of a lip speaker, you can look on the Association of Lip Speakers with Additional Sign, and that's online. And there are 3 different videos. You can see lip speaker, a lip speaker with sign, and an interpreter. So you can see the different ones on there, and you might think, oh, I can follow that style easier. But if anyone's not sure of where to find the videos, you can contact me at Lip Speaker UK, and I can signpost you.
Again, thank you so much, Louise, and thank you, Lesley. Thank you for joining us, and look forward to seeing you and chatting to you again.
Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us.